Om Namo Narayan from Rishikesh, India.
Om Namo Narayana.
So I have a question. I saw from another guru, he said that in order for enlightenment to take place, or maybe in order for a better life, it's very, very necessary to set the relationships right. Apparently, you have to have the relationships set right, especially with your parents. He may have even said, without that, enlightenment's not going to be possible.
Well, relationships with parents or others has nothing to do with enlightenment. Of course, it could help on the way if you're trying to still the mind, not to be so caught up in it. It could help in that way to some degree, but it has nothing to do with being willing to reach realization or the ability to reach realization. Realization happens when the connection to this body-mind is cut. When one goes beyond that and sees that they are not the body nor the mind, when that falls and the mind becomes still, and one enters what's called mun, or like they call some babas here Muni babas, which means silent. And it doesn't mean not speaking. It means that basically the tradition behind it is that the mind is still, it's silent. There is no more mind that's driving and running, okay? So one is within stillness, within, okay? Has nothing to do with not speaking. And the same thing, the mind play, the techniques that are given are to break through conditioned mind. And that's the way one gets to realization, to break through conditioned mind. But it has nothing to do with, healing your inner child or, doing on the physical plane, taking care of all these relationships so that everything is, very peaceful on an outer level.
So I can have no communication whatsoever with my whole family, and that would have nothing to do with...
that would have nothing to do with whether you reach realization or not. As the further you go, as things begin to still within yourself, you'll have more peace within yourself, and there won't be any more of this driving friction between you and family anyway. So that will rectify of itself. I mean, of course, in some cases, there are some things that people don't want to heal, and that's quite fine. That's their choice, that's their choice. But on the side of the sadhaka, as things fall away, there's no longer any anger that can be held. There's none of that. It falls away. It's just gone.
From the same guru that I was thinking of, they give on a massive scale. They give Shaktipat, but they call it Deeksha. Then they switched it over to oneness blessing. And the question there is, one who's giving this Shaktipat or the Deeksha or oneness blessing, if their own mind is in turmoil, their own life is in turmoil, or even if they're somewhat advanced, but their mind is not still, what type of effect does this have when they give this transferred energy or Shaktipat or this oneness blessing to other people?
Yeah, when you're doing any type of energy work, in this path we give Diksha, and Diksha in this path is awakening the Kundalini. It's absolute Shaktipat. Now, from what I understand, what I've read with the giving the Deeksha, they call it Deeksha, is more of a blessing, and it helps on the mundane level. But then they also go through to say it helps to awaken the mind. And though they talk about the divine energy, which is Kundalini, they're saying not to touch anywhere other than the head. Okay. And so exactly what they're doing is open for question. In this path, we are giving Shaktipat, and the ones that give Shaktipat, the only ones authorized to do that are those that are realized beings. Otherwise, they're not authorized, anyone in this path, to give Shaktipat, because it has to come from one that's in stillness, one that has already completed the path. Then they're ready to be able to give Shaktipat. in a very balanced manner.
So if they're not balanced and they give the Shaktipat, the implications are that this transfer of imbalance can also be had by the one receiving it.
Imbalance can take place, yes, absolutely. I mean, energy itself is neutral, okay? So what puts the spin on it is the mind. This is quantum, okay? So mind puts the spin on energy. If there is no mind, if one is in absolute stillness and there is no mind at that point, then what takes place is absolute pure energy.
And I guess the one receiving it, if they had a stilled mind, they wouldn't have to receive it in the first place.
They wouldn't have to receive it in the first place. But here, this is another reason why people come and take darshan, because when they get in the field of the guru, their mind starts to still, and they will go into a meditative state without having to meditate. And this has been proven out time and time again with the sadhakas.
Would the sadhaka have to be in any particular right state in order for that transfer to be felt, or would anybody whatsoever who came in the presence of an enlightened guru experience a still mind?
The riper they are, the more they go into stillness. Absolutely. Absolutely. And some, if you give them Shaktipat, it'll immediately awaken, and for some it takes a while. It might take a month, it might take a couple months for it to fully activate.
The Kundalini?
Yes. But eventually it does activate, and then the mantras are used and the techniques are given, which aid one to move along very rapidly so they don't get caught up in phenomena, and they go straight through consciousness. And they're not doing these meditations that will take them on astral travels and different planes and seeing all the rest of this phenomena, because it's not needed. We want to get people through consciousness to realization as rapidly as possible.
Apparently Ramana Maharshi would advocate that Kundalini has to be awakened in order for the most rapid progress to enlightenment.
He does speak in one book, that most of the books he doesn't speak too much about Kundalini, because he says that they need to have a guru for Kundalini. But there is one book in which it is stated, yes, that when people are ripe, then Kundalini is awakened and it can help them to move rapidly through the conditioned mind to realization.
One book written about Ramana.
In Padmalai, it's called Padmalai.
Padmalai.
In that one you will find this statement made as far as Kundalini is concerned. But most of the things he didn't speak too much about Kundalini, because you have to have a guru for this path, or else you can get really far off into too much phenomena. You can go into, really get caught up in mind stuff and go down a very bad road. So with the guru, it's a very quick way to realization. Okay, thank you. Om Namo Narayana.